Hey everybody, Creaky Tiki here, talking to you about a slick trick and simple change you can make to your accurate 2-speed reels that will literally give you a quick shift from low back into high. Why do you want a quick shift from low into high? If you've ever been fighting a fish on a 2-speed reel and you're in low gear and that fish suddenly turns and charges the boat, you get a ton of slack in the line, and if you don't get that slack out quick, you're going to have a lost fish. You got to get that reel back into high, get all that slack out, get the line tight and the rod loaded up as quickly as you can. So a quick shift from low back into a high is not a bad thing. Now I found that the way the accurate reels come from the factory, and they're great reels, I love them and almost all my reels are accurates, makes it a little bit difficult and slow to go out of low gear and back into high. Here's the reel in the standard configuration. To go back into high gear, you've got to hit that shift trigger on top of those two circular cones around the shift button. So you're in low gear, you're fighting the fish, you got to go back into high, you got to let go of the handle, find that trigger, push it, and out it comes, okay? You're reeling, stop, find it, shift, back in high. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to carefully take the set screws out, the Allen head screws, rotate the trigger mechanism 180 degrees and put the set screws back in. Why we want to do that? With the set screws removed and that rotated 180 degrees, you can shift back into high using the base of your thumb or the top of your palm, like this, okay? I'm in low, I'm in high. I'm in low, I'm in high. Without taking my hand off of the handle and with just a very momentary stop or even just a slow down, I can hit that trigger and I'm back in high gear. I think you can hear it going in and out there. So that's what we're after. Getting it so that you can use the base of your thumb or the top of your palm to pop that trigger and get it instantly back into high gear. So how do we do that? How do we go about it? Okay, I'm going to turn the camera down so you can see. And what we're going to need is, we're going to need a little bit of heavy reel grease, pan or cowls, a little bit of blue thread locker, not the red, just a touch of blue, and a right-sized Allen wrench. I always do this over a white towel so that in case something goes wrong, I don't lose any parts. Now, underneath the tall circular cone and the narrow circular cone, that trigger is pushed back out by a very small spring, and you don't want to pull this up and have that spring come apart. So keep those two circular cones together. We got to get out these Allen set screws, and that's the reason you got some reel grease here. Put a little bit of reel grease on the end of your Allen, and that will Allen wrench, and that will help you to pull those screws out once they're completely loosened up. They have a lot of turns, and if the first one doesn't come out like that, that grease holds it in. Okay, I'm going to hold those cones down and take the second one out. And there it is. Now, you don't need to worry about the handle getting loose. The handle's held down by a hex nut that's underneath that. And these two circular cones are keyed to that nut. So very carefully lift them both up and rotate. Don't lift them too high, and rotate till they're 180 degrees. It should pop right back down over that nut. These cones are actually secured by the facets on the nut underneath. Now we're going to take our Allen wrench with a little grease. Use the grease to hold the screw on it. That will keep everything coming apart. Now I'm going to put just a touch of thread lock blue. Just a very light touch, just a tiny amount of thread locker on that screw. That one you can just take down snug. Take out that first one we're using to hold everything together. Tiny bit of thread lock on that one. So not a ton because you don't want to seize anything up. Take that one back down. Now, you don't need these Allen screws super tight. You want them snug, but you don't want to overdo it. Like I said, they're not holding the handle on. The handle's held on by the nut underneath all of this. You want to check your trigger and make sure that it's springing out. Okay? Check and make sure that trigger springs out when you shift the reel. And if that trigger pops out, you're in good shape. Now, instead of having to take my hand off this handle like I did a minute ago, I just pop it when it comes by my hand. Low, high, with almost no interruption in winding. And instantly, you're regaining precious line when there's slack. Just take your time. Like I said, do not lift those circular cones high. You lift them just enough so they'll turn on that little flat nut holding the handle. 180 degrees, you might feel it catching on the facets on the way around. When you get the set screws in, check that shift button. Make sure that that spring is working, and you're good to go. Quick shift, slack out, less lost fish when those fish turn and charge the boat if you're using an accurate 2-speed. That's it for today. Hope this one was useful. As always, we welcome your tips and comments. If there's anything you'd like to hear, make a note on the online on YouTube, and we'll see what we can do. Take care, anglers. Hope to see you out there.